What is going on? Welcome to another episode of the Dent Digest live show. What up, Manny? You like that, huh?
I was ready to start dropping bars right here. Got the mic ready, you know.
You liking that, huh? Little mix
good.
up, little changing it up a little bit. You know.
I like that.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Cheers. Drinking some coffee. You know, just wrapped up the day. I actually got a tech still working in the shop, and feels different. You know,
It does.
It's cool. We're good.
That's
How you
good.
doing? Shout out to everyone already joining us.
Doing
Got Andy in the house.
Doing
Josh
good,
up.
man. You know, man, we are so busy. I say this every show, but we are busy. You know, I'm going to tell you guys a funny story that I actually really enjoyed. Was me and Manny talk periodically throughout the weeks, and I call him the other night. It was late for us.
Yeah.
And I'm working on a truck, van side, and we're FaceTime each other, and we're both laying on the floor at the shop. So it was like we were in the same shop together, but we were laying on our backs. So.
Yeah, and the floor colors, you have the orange, I have the orange, so it almost felt we were in the same room. Just
you know, it's been good. Josh has been doing great, man. He's been doing really good. I mean, he stuck his foot in his mouth. He's now kind of handling my wholesale stuff that I had, which is really nice break for me. And my accounts are they're like, if Ryan says you're good, you're good. So that's the type of accounts they are because I've had them for so long.
Yeah.
So he was there the other day and he sends me this picture and it's a rocker. And it's like a rocker to where it had like a parking thing and they just like made a right-hand turn over top of it. He's like, hey, they want us to pick this up and do it at the shop. And I'm like, we don't do rockers. So I get a call today. And it's the manager, and he's like, hey, you guys coming to do that rocker? I'm like, you know, we're kind of running behind. Well, I sold the car. I need it fixed by 5. Oh. So I see Josh. I get the car back to the shop, and Josh is just on his back. You know, Josh is like, he's like 10 foot tall. So, and we're working on this thing, and he's like, man, I just can't believe how hard this is. I was like, you're going to learn, little samurai. You're going to learn. You're going to learn. So he actually did a really good job. He's like, what do you think? And I'm like, I think it looks great. He's like, you got to be kidding me. This looks like hell. And I'm like, it's a used car. It's a white rocker. They've never seen the dent before. You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And it looked better. It had shape. It wasn't like caved in. So, and it's fun. Like, you know, the other night we were working and he's like, man, I learned a lot so far since I've been here.
How is it for you guys? Because he's a line board guy and you're a fall guy.
It's terrible.
So
how
is that working out for you guys?
He's training himself to do fog. What I really like to use, he has a line board that has really, really wide lines.
Oh, yeah.
And really wide gaps. So it's kind of a hybrid of line and fog.
Yeah.
But man, his regular lines, I can't see a damn thing.
Yeah, and his what I saw in the pictures that like his regular light has a little bit of mixture of like thick lines and thin lines. I saw.
Yeah.
And those, I know I've learned that those thin lines are like for fine tuning. You know, so
really
when I saw that on his slide, I'm like, oh, that's a good mixture that he has there. You know.
Yeah, he's doing good. He's fitting right in. You know, it's been great. It's been really good.
Good.
You know?
How does it feel for you that someone else is going to actury go take care of? Like,
I had Shane before, so I'm kind of used to it. So it's helping a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I can send him out, and I've got I spent all day on the same bedside today. So,
yeah,
you know, I'm not so stressed to get everything done. I'm still overbooking us like I always do. So, but it's been really good. It's been nice. I like to sit and watch. You know what I mean? I sit there and watch the whole situation of how the interaction in the shop of the guys are.
Oh
So
yeah.
I really enjoy that. So it's been good.
Andy
What's new with
says,
you?
Andy says Limeboard guys are weird.
They are.
Andy
They
said
are.
that. Andy
They
said
are.
that. No, just kidding.
And Josh is back. Josh hasn't been here in a couple weeks, so it's nice to see
Yeah.
you back, Josh. What's up,
Yeah.
Q?
Yeah, shout outs to everyone watching. Things are good here for me. So I took on a new tech. Anyone who follows me on my IG has been seeing that.
People follow you?
Yeah, some people do. So I took on a new tech, and we're going for our third week now. And tell you the truth, that is, that's something new for me because I used to work at the body shop, and I'm used to managing guys at the shop and doing quality control and telling the shop what to do, right? But being on my own business, I haven't had this, and so I did have Pablo here, last year, but that was different because we
Yeah.
knew that wasn't going to be permanent, like for a
Yeah.
long term. This one is, and so I'm trying to get used to that, So it's been, I don't want to say weird, but it's just it's new to me, right? Like it's a new challenge. I'm barely stepping into the big boy games, like you, Andy, and some of the other guys that have employees or have had other techs work for them, So that's new to me. Other than that, still trying to wait for this rain to clear out. We've been having a lot of rain here in Cali. We're not used to this. We're suffering right now. we like that 75-degree weather,
It rained. It rained in the morning, and it was 80 degrees today here. So we're swapping.
Man.
We can just keep swapping.
So shout outs to everyone who's busy and has good weather out there, because it's kind of the opposite here for us.
And Andy
so
said that. Yeah.
I was going to say, see what happens to us here is that, when we get this much rain, like we don't function well, like people are not out and about as they are, like the worst drivers stand out. I don't know. It just gets it. You could definitely feel the difference, the energy in people,
Yeah.
But,
I mean, you can most places, you can, when it's rainy and drabby, people aren't as happy, Yeah. So, Andy said the same thing. He's like, beginning of the month, he has a new employee, and it's hard to adjust. And it is, it's that point of delegating, and being accountable. So it's definitely an adjustment.
Yeah.
Growing pains.
Hey, I just realized right now that we do have Andy and Nick in here, and if anyone follows them, you've seen their post earlier this week about what is it?
Copywriting.
A company who claims to do designs that had posted their logos on their site, claiming that they did their design. Watch out for that, because I think that we could all be open-minded to growing, and when someone approaches us to like, hey, get a new logo done or whatever, and you see some of your buddies logos on there, you would definitely fall for it. And I almost did actually that same person posted comment on one of my posts about doing a logo for me, and I never actually replied. And funny enough, they posted that later in the week, and I was like, interesting,
It's spammers, man. Scammers all day long. I get a bunch of those guys. Hey, you want a new logo, bro? You want a logo? Like, block. I don't even care.
Yeah. And I just throw it out there because, like I said, I think if we're not aware of this, any of us could easily fall, easily to things like that. And I mean, nowadays there's just scammers all over the place, So it's just like you have to be careful. And for us, I think being business owners, we could get in a position where, it could really hurt us. So just be aware, be mindful, and just watch out who you do business with,
100. Any new tools for you?
No, I actually use this to steer my coffee. So no new tools for me right now. Yeah, sorry, I didn't think about any tools.
I did get that mini buffer that you got, that Roop's mini buffer you bought at MT. I did end up getting that.
It's a great tool. It's just annoying to turn it on and off. Like if you tap the back, the trigger, it's like it goes crazy. So yeah.
But
oh, come on, it's too early for that. It's too early for that.
I mean, it is 9/11 here, so, but it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Guys are keeping me busy. But yeah, I mean, I haven't really got anything else new. Some tabs. I've really been enjoying the Locket tabs, man. I got some Locket tabs from Shane, and I'm really liking those things, man. Like they make this little rectangle and this little square. Man, they pull hard. And I did use, it's funny, I had a really bad bedside today, and I did use collision glue from Collision Glues, and my gun, it was an old Eliminant, and it just wouldn't pump enough glue. So I grabbed my other gun. I got green and collision glue together.
Oh, man.
And Mikey looks over. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, I got a wedge and a hammer, and I'm trying to get the glue off the panel because I couldn't get it off the panel.
Wow.
He's like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I got to get the glue off. I mean,
that happens to me a lot with the Reaper glue. I love the Reaper glue, but man, when that thing sticks on, does not want to come off. What I'll do is that I'll just heat it up.
Yeah.
Heat it up, a little bit of alcohol, it comes right off. So yeah.
But let's get our guest on.
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
And it's funny. I'll tell you what he said when we first got on, but backstage before we started the show. So, and this is a response we get a lot of times. So let's get him on.
Yeah, let's do it.
What's up, Brandon?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Brandon, what's up, brother? Cheers.
Brandon from Ultimate Dent Removal. What's going on?
Nothing much. How are you guys doing tonight, rather?
We're doing great. I mean, not as good as you going snowboarding and stuff. So,
yeah.
So where are you from and how long have you been pushing?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Illinois, Northeast Illinois.
Okay.
So along Lake Michigan, about 30 minutes south of Wisconsin state line. And I ended up moving to Colorado at the end of 16, and I've been here since. But my pushing started back in 2008. That's when I started pushing.
Okay.
What's your background? What'd you do before PDR?
I was just being a kid, trying not to get
because you were
too much trouble. Yeah. So my dad started doing this back in 91. Started pushing back in 91. So that's where I get it from. And I hung around him. He managed a shop for a company called Dent Busters. And at one point, I think they had about 3 locations. But yeah, he managed one of the locations. So I got a chance to hang out with him since I was about 13, pulling cars around and fucking up cars as well. But yeah, so I've been around it. Ended up meeting my wife in 2008, and then I was just working at Home Depot, and that's where I met her. And I decided, let me give this a shot and see if I can turn this into something. And here we are.
Look at that.
Now, was it because you were getting serious, or you were trying to, do something more like a career in life, or like what was it that like you said, let me give this a try?
Right. I just had so this is before I married my wife. I met her, and I think at that time we were about maybe a month or 2 in, and I kind of knew like this is the one. So let me attempt, because I wasn't doing much, just working retail, going from job to job, and I figured, let me give this a shot, see if I can turn this into a career. And yeah.
That's cool. And then, so go ahead, Brian.
One question he asked behind stage, he goes, "Why me? Why me?" And we get that a lot from the guys, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
this is why there's 32 people in here, because they want to hear the stories of the guys that have got into it, starting to figure it out, trying to grow their business, the issues they have, what didn't work, what did work. So that's why you, Brandon, you do a good job. And, you know, we noticed it. And I was like I said to him, I said, I kind of go through a list. I go through Facebook and stuff throughout months, and we need to get him. We need to get him. We need to get him. And it just kind of works its way out. So
just everyone has a story.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just amazing to hear someone else's journey, you know. And I think what's cool is that, you know, there's things that you could relate, and it's just like, you know, just fulfills you. I think that someone else, you know, either struggled or went through the same things like you did. And you just never know too what could inspire you and what you could learn from, you know.
Right.
Little bits.
I mean, I'll tell you for myself, I've learned so much in this show, you know, just from hearing tech stories, you know. So yeah, no, we're excited to hear your story. So you got into it, you know, you wanted to try it. So did you go to your dad and learn and train with him, or where did you go through training, or what was that process like?
Yeah, so I learned from my dad. I was fortunate that we had an account at the time. So I guess let me back it up. So I was working with my dad, and I was just kind of just doing ride-alongs. It's basically it. If he happened to have a hail car, I'd be the one to tear it down and get stuff ready. But I was just there hanging out. A lot of it was he was trying to keep me out of trouble. It was a lot of it. So he wanted to keep me around. And then
how was that conversation to go back to him and be like, all right, I want to give this a try?
It was simple. He's been encouraging me ever since. Same with my mom. You know, my family is from Belize, Central America.
Okay.
So the fact that my dad landed this career and turned it into something that was just not fathomable to him, being young. You know, it was just they saw that opportunity, and they've been encouraging me to do it ever since. I was just too young. You had the Canada boys over there, and I related to that. There's a certain age and time when you're mentally ready to be like, okay, let's take this on. It's time to get serious. Yeah. And that's what it was. So it was very easy to transition into let's do this. But we were servicing an account, detail shop. They were pulling from dealers locally, so within about a 10-minute range, and servicing their stuff as far as doing the details, quick details, and adding dent repair. Now, we weren't getting much for the wholesales. I think we were getting like $50 a car, which is very, very cheap. But that was my learning ground. My dad has trained a lot of techs, and a lot of them have started on a hood, X's and O's, you know, put the high spots in the boxes. I didn't do that. I went straight into pushing dents. So I did a lot of mistakes that I laugh about now. But that's kind of how I got into it.
Wow.
Now, is it something that just kind of clicked over time? You're like, I really need to overnight. And you were like, I really want to pursue this now.
It was kind of just one of those things as I just took it on. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, this is actually working. Let me just keep pursuing it. It was in front of me. I can see that I'm making progress, but that wasn't, I don't know. It was just, there wasn't a clear sign determining like, oh, I'm okay at this. Let me push forward. It was just more of like, okay, next day we got something in front of us. Let's just do it. And it just kind of progressed like that. It just kind of eased into it.
Okay.
So you went and basically just started working with your dad.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And what year was this again?
2008.
2008. Okay. So what happened after that? So you went back, you started, and
Yeah, so I started. My dad had several. We serviced more body shops than wholesale. I think he had about 2 wholesale accounts that we were pulling from, but it was mainly body shops.
okay.
So again, my dad got me my own set of tools. It was the Jared Powell set from
Oh wow,
A1.
A1, yeah.
Yeah, the stainless steel set. I still have some of them. I don't use them. They're not in rotation, but they're hanging out in the corner somewhere. Um, but uh, but yeah, started with that. And just kind of riding along with him. Then I started progressing and getting better, and we just kind of he ended up getting me a van or a truck rather, and I just kind of rolled around to the same job sites as him. And if we needed to, in the beginning stages, if we needed to, he can send me somewhere else. But it's very rare. It wasn't until for me, it was about year 4 or 5 is when I was finally comfortable going on my own and doing my
Oh
own thing.
wow.
So him sending me to go do a hail car or take care of some door dings, it wasn't until that far out that it
Wow.
took. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that was probably like 2012.
Yeah. Yeah. 2012. So there was an incident, not necessarily an incident, but it was getting slow. Our slow months are January, February, and it's getting to the point where I wasn't guaranteed a check every week because we didn't really have anything. My dad was basically sharing what he had with me, and we'd
Wow.
benefit when it came to hail damage, right?
Oh, I see.
So I ended up trying to work with a different business that had kind of a dent wizard concept to it. So I
Okay.
spent a few months, a little less than a year with them. And immediately, I think the first month I was there, they got hit with a big hailstorm. And that was the first time that I ended up doing a hail car to myself because it was always
Oh,
split with my dad.
Yeah.
Um, so I started doing that and working with that company. They would send me out to dealerships, just running a route. And that's where I got really comfortable. They just kind of threw me out there and it didn't have my dad as a safety net. So it was time for me to be a big boy and start pushing some metal. And
shit
that's
to get
kind
off the
of
pot, you know.
that's really it. So I was there for a little less than a year. Then I came back and I brought a lot more tenacity, a lot more knowledge. The willingness to take on more damage than my dad previously was comfortable with. It was definitely more apparent coming back with him the second time around. And that's when we really kind of expanded a little bit more. And then shortly after that, I ended up moving to Colorado. So
Nice.
So your dad's still located in.
yeah, so the business still survives. My sister owns it technically. Her husband is the technician. My dad trained my brother-in-law how to do
Oh,
it. My
Okay.
dad officially retired, and he's been retired for about 2-3 years. And he lives in
Wow.
Belize. The house
oh,
that my parents bought when they got married, they've
Wow.
spent some time just modernizing it over the last 5-8 years, and now they live
Wow.
there.
that's
Living
cool.
living the dream,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
making a business happen, and working hard and growing your kids and get them to get stable into their own careers and
hmm
go and retire back home. That's awesome,
right,
man.
right, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I don't
Now,
think he anticipated that coming to America. So, but yeah, it worked out for him.
when you left that Dent Wizard type company that you were working for,
hmm
and you came
hmm
back to with your dad, and that's when you were growing with the larger damage and different ways of doing things, right?
Exactly, taking on more damages. Before I think the largest that we would take on maybe be technically 4 inches on a body line would probably be the largest. And then working with that Dent Wizard style company, working the wholesale, they had a lot more wholesale accounts. So that gave me the opportunity to be like, okay, this door is smashed and let me see what I can do with it.
Yeah.
And then I brought that energy to my dad, and then we just started taking on more stuff.
That's cool, man.
Okay.
And how was the so what got you to move to Colorado?
So we had 2 great hail years in Illinois, 2014, and then 2015 was even better. And I don't know. This is around the time that I found PDR College. I found Paul Corden. You know, listening to the prices that he's getting on this, me being a young kid who's eager to make more money, I wanted to turn that big ship overnight. And that's a big no-no, especially for the body shops. So I had a lot of body shops that weren't too thrilled when I showed up, you know, because of the pricing, not necessarily because of the work. It was simply because of pricing. I wanted those prices to jump up overnight. And if you listen to Paul Corden, that's not how that works. You got to turn that big ship nice and slow. So that I took that into account, is that I had some body shops that weren't willing to adjust the pricing. So then I said, you know, hail is so much easier. There's a pricing sheet that we all have to kind of go off of, right? So it's a little bit more simple. And I laugh now because it's not as simple as that. There's insurances that get involved, and they just throw a wrench into everything. But the idea was there's a sheet laid out of pricing, so it should be a simple thing to just chase hail. And that's kind of what did it for me. After 2015, I said, I think I'm done doing door dings. I think I want to attempt chasing hail. So 2016, I ended up working in Denver for front range dent removal for Anson Roberts. And that is when I was like, I think I want to establish myself out here. We'll keep chasing hail, but I visited Colorado before, and I like it. And if I can find a house in my price range, then I'll do that. And that's just kind of how it worked out.
Now, I've heard that like there's a lot of dent techs in Colorado.
Yes, there is a lot of dent techs in Colorado.
So did that cross your mind? How did that, thought played in your mind?
So it crossed my mind, but it's whatever to me. There can be a lot of there's a lot of dent guys in our area too. So I was used to the idea of, if you're going to turn this dent down, there's a chance that the guy behind you is going to take on the dent just to steal the account, right? So I grew up with that mindset in the PDR career, but my first couple of years, I've just chased hail strictly. I wasn't trying to do anything local. I just happened to live in a town that was south of Denver, so kind of away from the clutter of all the techs. And it just wasn't until more recently that I've decided, let me try and build my retail game, see if I can balance out the hail with building retail, and hopefully transition into not needing to travel and just stick to a local market.
That's nice. That's a big transition there too, though. You know what I mean?
It is. To give you an example, let's see, I think had to have been 2 years. What I've done on my own for retail, Mobile Tech RX was about 20 something, about 2 years ago was 20 something thousand is what I brought on my own for retail. This is while still chasing hail most of the year. Last year I was able to double that and a little bit more than that. So I'm hoping that I can just keep doubling that amount. And then honestly, I'm hoping this is a year that I don't have to leave and just keep staying here. So,
and I do believe you're in the PDR 20 group, correct?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. How's that going? How did you, was that something to where you were like, I think this will benefit me when you signed up? How did all that come about?
So that came about, I had an opportunity to work in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh got hit with a late hailstorm. I think it was around Thanksgiving or something like that. But I had the opportunity to go work there starting beginning of January, and I ended up coming home, I think, the second week of February or something like that. Anyway, Gene is right around that area. So the guy I was working for, actually, Gene and Charlie. Charlie's who I was working for. They actually have a history. Charlie's responsible for Gene learning how to do PDR or enticing him to take PDR seriously, rather. So there's a lot of history there.
I just want to point out, these are the things that you get to learn from the story. So look at your story, things that we're learning, right? You know?
So I would see Gene a lot. And that's, if you guys don't know, Gene, that's Gene's group. It's the 20 group.
Yeah.
He may say otherwise, but it is his group that he put together, right? But just talking to him, and he asked me if I would be interested. I explained to him what I am trying to do, as far as trying to stay home and not have to chase hail. And Gene and Melissa's group. That's right. Thanks, Andy.
Better get that.
But yeah, he told me about it, and I kind of sat on it for a little while. And I spoke to another tech. We had another tech come in. Jeez, I'm gonna blank on his name. Kobe LeBlanc. I don't know if you guys heard of Kobe LeBlanc.
Yeah.
Great dude.
So Kobe was part of the 20 group the previous year, and he was the Colorado market guy for that 20 group. So even if I wanted to join it last year, I wouldn't be able to because Kobe was in that spot. Kobe had I think Kobe had a change in his opportunities out here, so he started chasing hail. So the Colorado position became available. So I got to meet Kobe. He worked with us for a couple of days at the shop that I was working at in Pittsburgh. And I talked to him, and he was kind of the one that he didn't really convince me, but just asking questions and just hearing the answers he's given me. That's kind of when I made the decision of moving forward with it and seeing if it's something that I can benefit from.
That's cool.
Okay.
By the way, I just want to highlight, Michael here is he's saying that you're really good tech, and you're down to earth and you're a hard worker. And I just want to point that out,
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I got to work for Michael a couple of years ago, and I'm still waiting for that call back, Michael. And because he's only 6 hours away from me.
I see.
So it's a fairly easy drive. But I got to work for him for 2 weeks. So it was cool. It was it's the one thing that was very different from working with Michael is this dude loves to work with all the lights off in the shop. Just his PDR lights. Dude, I cannot do that. I'll go out for lunch and I'll come back and the whole shop is dark and you just see Michael in the spotlights of his PDR light.
He's trying to watch that electric bill. That's all.
That's really what it was. Amarillo is just taxing people these days, I guess. But yeah, I got the chance to work with him. That was that was the only thing. That was the only odd thing. But that's his style. That's how he likes to work. I just can't do it that way.
Me and Manny
our LED lights are too. Do you?
Yeah,
certain colors, certain damage.
Yeah. I do it if. So the shop that I was working in Pittsburgh has a white ceiling, and it has LED lights. I think the ceilings are about maybe a little bit more than 12, maybe about 12 feet, give or take. So not super high, especially if you have a lifted truck. So on the light colored cars, that's when I would turn off a couple of the lights the ceiling lights just so I can see what's going on, because those LED lights, the ones that replace the fluorescents, those just overcast the light colored cars so easily. So it makes it difficult to see the dents.
How did so, you know, chasing hell? I mean, it sounds like you've been, you know, through a lot of states working for so many guys. How was that? How was it for you, like getting to know guys to go work for? Was it at MTE, meeting other techs, or like?
Yeah, so it was tough. I didn't really talk to a lot of the techs. I mean, even now, that's kind of one of the reasons I asked Ryan early on is why me? Because I'm kind of a quiet person. Unless we meet face to face and we have interactions, and that's kind of where I come out of my shell. But for the most part, I don't really put myself out there besides what I have to for my business. So that was very hard. I think that the first opportunity I had was working a wholesale deal for Ryan Hampton. One of the only deals, or one of the only wholesale deals I did for him. I did a body shop deal, I think a year or two after that for him. But yeah, Ryan Hampton was one of the first ones. He gave me the opportunity to work on a hailstorm for him, and just meeting other techs. I landed. So that same Ryan Hampton deal, I met two guys, Chris Norden and a guy named Frank Perez out of Houston. Chris Norden is no longer in the PDR industry. He actually became a State Farm agency
Wow.
out of Tennessee. Him and I worked his last hail car, super gravy car too. I should have kept it for myself. But we worked, we split his last hail car together. For a buddy of ours in Nebraska, but yeah, now he's doing that. So I met those guys outside of that deal for Ryan Hampton, and I did not run into him until I worked for Anson. Anson kept a small group of guys that he trusted to come through and work for him, and those two guys were part of it. So then I became friendly with them, and one of the reasons I got into Pittsburgh was because of Frank Perez. So just meeting guys, that's really it. Yeah, that's really it. The way I got into Michael's shop, because Michael's also one of those guys that keeps a tight, kind of keeps like a gate, right? He really is particular on who he's going to bring in to work for him. You know, the guy does great work, and he wants to make sure that the person he brings in is also going to deliver, you know, consistently, and that there's no shady shit going on. So it's hard to get in with Michael over at Heavenly Hail Repair. But the one thing I did was I have a before and after video of a nasty hood that should have been replaced, but working retail hail that just is not in the cards. You kind of have to save everything that you can. So I did a before and after of that, and I would send that out to local guys in the areas that I wanted to try and work. So if I noticed that Amarillo got hit or Austin got hit, I would send them this video and let them know who I am, just kind of give them my spiel and just kind of text them or message them the information. And Michael was actually one of the guys that watched the video, showed his wife. And that is what gave me the opportunity to get in there. Otherwise, I wouldn't have got into that shop at all. But that was my last couple of years of chasing, is when I started doing that before and after video. So,
and then when you chase, do you prefer to like go to like a body shop, wholesaler like dealers, or like PDR shops? You know, what do you try to aim for?
A lot of it's going to be on the damage. I don't like to do wholesale because I'm too picky. So I'm not the greatest with a wholesale gig.
What do you mean by that? Like you're too picky, like wholesales, they don't pick at things too much, or like what's the difference?
Wholesale is all about how fast you can go through the cars. They'll let the little flaws go They're not concerned about it. It's mainly get the eyesores out. So if you get most of the depths out of the dents, then you should be able to fly with wholesale. But I have a retail background. I'm used to working in body shops and delivering the best I can. So wholesale is not a great spot for me. So body shops and retail is where I like to go, but it also depends on the damage. If it's aggressive damage like Texas gets, and even Colorado gets some aggressive damage, but if it's an aggressive storm, I'd like to be in a body shop just because I can kick panels. But at the same token, one guy can lock up a paint shop very, very fast. So if you're kicking all these roofs or all these hoods and you're stacking up all these cars that the painter has to paint for you, or for the shop rather, and it won't take much time until you're sitting there because the painter needs time to get through these vehicles before they bring more in, if that makes sense. So in that token, the retail is great for that because we are trying to get cars in, fix them, get them out. There's no delay if we can help it. But with retail, you have to try and save everything, even though it's stupid as far as saving a roof that for the price we shouldn't really touch. With a retail game, that's almost expected that you have to try and save that roof.
I see.
So with aggressive damage, it's hard to make some money on a retail side. But yeah, that's it. That's it.
I was asking, I forgot who I asked. I think it was John Dent Dude, that like if there's a state where he stays away from, but he was just like, no, he'll go wherever, But I was I was kind of referring to that, to like, from what I've heard, that like Texas and Colorado really get some nasty stuff. Was there, since you are home to Colorado, you're used to those hard hits, right? So, is there any states that you would love to go because you knew that was like gravy stuff, or like that wasn't too bad?
Pittsburgh. I'd love to go to Pittsburgh every single time.
Yeah, the Northeast.
Dude, it's not only, the damage this time around was, I'm used to it. It's whatever. It's all fixable stuff. It's nothing like split paint on a rail or anything like that. If anything, you may find one spot that maybe split a little dent just because it got close to the edge or something like that, right? But it was all fixable stuff, and the money that they were getting, just because I don't think they're used to that type of damage, but just the money they were getting for some of those cars, it was awesome. It made it worth the time.
That's what they call gravy, right?
How long were you in Pittsburgh?
I was there for about 5 weeks.
Okay.
I actually got to work next to Jean Vidich, or Zan. Yeah. However you guys know him. Yeah. We were side by side.
What's been the longest you've ever been out on the road on a storm?
Probably a month. I try to go home after about 3 weeks. But then that also gets tough too. You keep going home because I have 2 kids. So you keep going home and you're just 11 and 6.
Oh yeah.
So you keep going home and you're losing out on opportunities to make money at the storm, right? Because you have to go home and check in. But the longest is a month, and that seems to be my threshold. Is a month. I can't. It seems like right around that month mark is when I'm getting antsy and just like, all right, I need to go back home at least for a little while. Was
that like a rule that you set to yourself or with your family to say like, hey, like we know that you got to be out there, out and about, but please come home after like 3 weeks, or like?
Definitely, yeah. So one of the main reasons I spent so long in Pittsburgh is because it's far away. It's 22 hours away from my house where I was working. And granted, I'll just fly home, which I ended up doing. But it's something that we discussed between my wife and I, that 3 weeks is kind of the ideal. Spend 3 weeks out there, come home for a week, and then go back for another 3 would be ideal.
Now, did you drive out here originally, or did you fly?
I did drive. Yeah, I'll drive everywhere for my storm.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll drive. So
What are you driving?
I am driving a 2017 Ford Explorer Sport.
Okay.
So that's what I drive.
That's cool. So you're in Colorado now. You're kind of slow, trying to stay away from traveling too much.
Right.
And then, so are you looking for a shop now, or have you? How's that process going? Of like transitioning.
Sure. Yeah. So I that is the plan, is to move on to a shop.
Oh, okay.
And to offer other services, bringing on other guys, just because I've tried doing detailing when I was younger, and I just absolutely hate it. So I can leave that to somebody else who has a passion for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually I'd like to expand into a shop and offer other services. Right now, I am trying to build, because I'm a mobile service for my area around me. So I'm just trying to build the consistency of the work. And once I have that, then I can feel more comfortable getting into a shop. So, you know.
But you're still traveling for hell like you normally do, or have you changed something?
Yes, technically, yes. If anything, this will be the first year, because hail season just started. Texas getting hit pretty early in the year, so I'm planning on staying away from that. Not eager to get out to that. But no, right now the mentality is just to try and stay here as long as I can. If I need to make some income, then I'll start considering looking. But as of now, I haven't really paid attention to the hail reports.
Now, is it tough to like kind of like step away a little bit from that, or are you just you've been you've had already some years of chasing hail that you're kind of like it's cool, I'll get to it.
Yeah, so hail is a love-hate relationship for me. With the exception of Pittsburgh, most of the deals that I've been on, and Amarillo, honestly, Amarillo was a good deal. I wish I would have stayed there longer. But most of the deals I've been on haven't been the greatest as far as income. By the time you're done paying your expenses, waiting on payments, you're not left with a lot. So there was for my career, for my hail chasing career, there's a small amount of deals that actually paid well and made it worth the while. So I really don't have an attachment to chasing hail. Ideally, it would be, even if I can scrape by just staying home, that would be ideal.
Okay.
Do you think the hail, the hail, how can I say it? The health side, is it getting tougher or easier nowadays to be in or make a living out of?
It's getting a lot harder. There's a lot more guys, and the damage is getting a lot worse. You're starting to see a lot more oversized dents, a lot more stretched dents. It's just becoming more common.
But do you think that's on the cars, or is that the actual hail itself?
No, it's the hail itself. If you pay attention to the storms, you can see that the hailstorms are getting much larger. And there seems to be a consistent trend that's what's happening. But the hail thing is some of the guys that worked with my dad back in the 90s, that seemed to be the heyday or seemed to be the gold rush for hail chasers. If you wanted to be a hail chaser, that was the time, because that is when you can make your 300,000 in 6 months and take the rest of the year off. You know what I mean? Now it becomes much harder to make that happen on the road. You have to be in the right storm. You got to be able to have the right amount of flow for cars, getting the right money for them as well. And it's just becoming harder and harder. You got more techs that that aren't as experienced or don't care as much about the work that they're putting out. The income is their concern. It's there's this opportunity to make some money very fast, so let me buy some tools, practice, and go chase some hail. And that definitely hurts our industry with hail chasers. It's the one thing that I stood out was that I was able to take on some of the bigger stuff. I wasn't afraid of it. So that gave me opportunity to keep working, whether it paid well or not. It gave me the opportunity to keep working.
It's also a transition for the home life. You know what I mean? Because families get used, just like John Yeager said, families get used to, okay, he's home 7 months out of the year or 8 months out of the year, and then you're there all the time. So it's a learning curve there too on the home end.
It definitely is. When I first started this career, that wasn't the idea, was chasing hail. It was an afterthought. It was an afterthought to chase hail. So my wife it wasn't something that I was already doing when I met her. I started PDR because I met her. And I said, let me give it a shot. And then working door dings with my dad. And now it's, hey, I really like this hail stuff. I made good money locally here. Let me see if I can do that same out there. So that was kind of it's still consistently every year, it's a tough transition. It's the same conversations. When are you coming home? I feel like a single parent. I don't like being alone. It's the same stuff every year. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm trying to really pursue staying home if I can. But it's tough. This past time I went home, it took me 2 weeks to finally feel like I'm home. I show up back home, I still had that mentality of, oh man, I'm going to be leaving soon. And there's no plans in there to be leaving anytime soon. It's just that you're in that mode of like, okay, I'm here shortly and I'm going to end up going back out. But there was none of that planned, so it took a while to finally transition back into home life for me, to where I feel like, okay, now I'm back home. I'm here, not going anywhere, that type of deal.
If you don't mind me asking, like, how is it like with your kids? Like, when you're in that same transition. I mean, I'm sure, like you said, you built this business with the wife, so the wife understands more, but how is it with the kids?
The kids my youngest shows more emotion to it than my oldest does. I have 2 boys. So it seemed like the first boy, our oldest, would cling on to mom. And it seems like the second boy was more clinging on to me. So I definitely notice it with my youngest when I do leave. My oldest is kind of used to it. Obviously, it's still sad when I leave and happy when I get back. But it's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's just selfishness or what it is. But once I'm out of the house and heading to a storm, you can call me a dick or a bad father, but that's not on my mind anymore. It's more about now I need to focus on working. And I still try to do the FaceTime as much as I can, but the mentality definitely shifts.
Yeah.
What hours are you usually working when you're on the road? As much as you can.
They can be 10 to 12 hours. It's usually what I'm doing, and then working Monday through Saturday if I can. Taking Sunday off.
Yeah.
Now, so how long you've been at home now? Just that you haven't traveled much?
Yeah, no. I've been home since the second week of February. Is when I've been home. So I've been home since. Okay.
And is it hard, easy to like find accounts, find work? How do you market yourself?
So I don't have any accounts. Everything that I am getting is all retail, mobile retail. It's just, I was using Push MPDR for a little while to do my Google My Business listing stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm switching to a new website system that's going to have a CRM built into it, and also going to include my social media stuff. So I ended up getting rid of Push MPDR, but I don't know, man. It was the listing, I think, is what's really helping me out, the Google listing.
The Google listing.
Because right now I'm up to, I think, like 54 5-star reviews or something like that.
Okay.
Good.
So it seems like more people are finding me through Google when they do.
What else? What else are you using to like market yourself?
I just very recently started to do some advertising. I got reached out by a gym here to advertise on their TV. It's an ad that's going to play 3 to 4 times an hour, and it's a 30-second ad. It's just because it's one single TV in the middle of the floor. But the ad that I had was, I got the idea from Michael. He doesn't know it, but that's where I got it from. I put my face, the same picture that you guys have. I took that face and put a bodybuilder's body underneath it. So I did a Photoshop and said the muscles may be fake, but the repairs are real or something like that. Just something to grab their attention. I haven't seen a return on that yet. That should have just started. And then just trying to look for different opportunities to advertise locally. Like I just created a gift basket for a local school that's throwing a gala. So a silent auction basket that includes a gift certificate for a dent repair. And I plan to do that for the school that my kids are going to as well. So just looking for different opportunities to try and advertise locally. You know, my idea is to grow my business in the town that I'm in and expand my reach.
Yeah.
Think out of the box. That's the biggest thing. You know, when you do a lot of mainstream stuff, Google ads or Facebook ads or Instagram ads, you know, years ago when I first started RPS, I took an ad out with a weather guy, a local weather guy that was like a local celebrity. And I did a banner and it was expensive. And it just happened to hail here that year. So every time it would hail, he would see, you know, check out Ryan from RPS Dent Repair. And it just exploded. So everybody said, "You're taking an ad with a weather guy?"
Yeah.
But it was something different. You know what I mean? Just like your gym thing. That may be, you may knock it out of the park with that. So
yeah, I'm hoping. It was a $400 cost for a year. So if I can get 2 vehicles off of that, that will basically pay for it.
Yeah. I mean, if I was to throw my 2 cents in that, I would just say just anything and everything that has to do with marketing, just open all the doors, and whatever doors, you know, you get something in, keep doors open. Whatever doors nothing comes in, just close doors and, you know, keep moving around until you figure out what's working and what's not.
Local car clubs too.
So
local car clubs.
Best wishes for you on that. So I was gonna say, so in regards to tools, what kind of tools are you using?
I have a mixture. I have a couple PR finesse tools. My whale tails are from Dentcraft. I have some hand tools that are from Glen. Let's see what else. Carbon Tech Hail Rod. I just picked up those the set that John Vidic has with A1, his champion set. The tools that he used to win the Dent Olympics. So I picked that up as well. But yeah, that's basically it. I use Carl Stuckey lights just because I love their fade. And yeah, using as far as glue tabs, using the Dent Reaper crease tabs. I'm really loving those.
You said something. You said the Stuckey light. You like that fade for hell.
I like it for everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've used the Pro PDRs before, and there's a lot of guys, and you know, maybe on here that love the Pro PDR better for hail than the Stuckey. And there's some techs like yourself that love more of the Stuckey versus the Pro PDR. What's the difference to you that you prefer one over the other? I mean, you said the fade. I mean, is there anything else that or what's different in the fade for you? Let me ask you that.
Yeah, certainly. So if you're a really good tech, you're going to use Carl Stuckey. But
Great answer. Say less.
but no, the Pro PDRs, I've used those and they're great lights. The construction over them over the past couple of years have been kind of shit since they moved to the new buyer. So for that reason, I was tired of losing half an LED strip. And then Carl Stuckey came out with his big LED light, his tail light. So the one thing I do notice with Carl Stuckey's lights is the fade is just a lot tighter. So you don't have this fat fade to it. It's just a nice tight line, and it's the image that you get is just so detailed. You can see in that orange peel so beautifully. I don't know. It's just nice and crisp. It was an adjustment because I did go from Pro PDR, the Chubby HDs, to Carl's, and because Carl's lights are the hail light specifically, the fade is just so tight. It took a little bit, about an hour, for me to finally be like, okay, now I can see exactly what I'm looking at. It was hard for my eyes to adjust to a much tighter fade. Plus, I like that cover that he has. It's kind of a frosted cover, the lens cover. So you don't have reflectiveness happening. I don't know if that helps with the crispness of your LED reflection. I would assume it does. And then I like the idea. Yeah, and then I like the idea. I like the idea of the battery pack being on the back. There's no more wires. That was a big selling point for me as well.
Yeah.
And he based his light.
It sounds like you work for Stuckey, by the way. you explained that from the heart, man.
I'm trying to get that sponsorship deal.
He bases his lights off kind of the old school Dent Wizard fade. You know what I mean? To where how the fade used to be on their old boards, to where it had that nice gradient, crisp, nice line to it. So it's a great light. I mean, it is, unless you bend, I've got a bent housing. So, but overall, I mean, Manny, you just got one, didn't you?
I just got it. And yeah, it's awesome. And actually, while you were explaining about the fade, I'm looking at it like, and just hearing you explain it, I was like, wow, it just made me fall in love with it again.
Yeah.
How about glue?
He did a great job. The glue I use exclusively hard glue.
What's up, Tony?
Okay.
So I've used tab weld for a while, for a couple of years since it came out, and then I had a storm that I worked in Arlington, Texas. Super, super hot, and tab weld does not work well when it's hot and humid. It just does not want to cure.
Yeah, it takes.
Luckily, I was working in Arlington, so I was able to go pick up some new glue from the Anson shop. Just take a drive and pick up some new stuff. And I picked up the hog glue, but the Harley Davidson one. So it had the black, and then it had the orange in there. I used the black immediately, and the black is just their Anson black. They've just mixed a pack to make it look like a Harley Davidson colors, so like this is the motorcycle, right? But the real hog glue is the orange stick. I didn't end up using that until later, but once I did, with the glues, you learn the timing, you learn how much pull you're going to get out of it, how much glue you really need to use, and stuff like that. And it's just, as far as consistency of the pulls and how quick it cures, that's been my favorite for the last couple of years.
You said the favorite's pink glue, or
no, the hog glue, the hog orange glue.
Brandon, he uses pink glue. He can't even.
Chris Norton used the pink glue. I don't know why he used it at the time. I questioned him every time, but every glue in the market is going to work. It's just figuring it out. How is it going to work for you? Is it going to take more like the Walmart stuff? That worked too. We used that early on. It's just figuring out the cure time and what kind of pull you're going to get and what temperatures it's going to work best in and stuff like that.
Just not that pink stuff. That stuff's crap.
No, I think you said that right. You know, if you understand your climate and your timing, you'll kill it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So,
everybody has their choice in glue, and it all works. It's just it's personal preference. It's what works for you.
Yep.
And one thing that really stood out, you've been doing a really, really good job with your social media. Your social media, you've been really putting yourself out there, really doing some good videos, some good footage on everything. So keep up the good work, dude.
Thanks, man.
That's why I picked you out. I was like, this dude's he's trying it. You know, he's trying to make it happen. So it's nice to see a guy that's really putting everything, getting out of his box is what the biggest thing is.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, that's my whole thing is just trying to be consistent with putting something out every day if I can.
Yeah.
You know, because I would create videos in the past and there was just zero consistency. You know, I'd spend a lot of time trying to make this awesome video or what I thought was awesome, and it'd get very little interaction. But yeah, now I've just been trying to be a little more diligent about being consistent with putting something out.
Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, so Instagram and Facebook are going to be at Ultimate Dent, ULTIMATE, and Dent. Twitter, I think, is the same thing. Let me verify that. I think it's just sorry about that. Yeah, TikTok, at Ultimate Dent. Or I'm sorry, TikTok rather. Yeah, not Twitter, TikTok. TikTok is going to be the same thing at Ultimate Dent. So yeah, that's it.
That's awesome, man.
I'm excited for you. You got a little bit of a road to figure yourself out, you know, at home and trying to grow that thing, but it's always fun. I enjoy the growth, like the working towards something, you know what I mean? That constant trying to figure out different ways to get business or different ways to get accounts or body shops or whatever. So I'm excited for you.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the next stages is just to try and get into some body shops. And yeah, I'm having fun right now. I am feeling enthusiastic about the future and about the things that are coming into place as far as the new website and stuff like that. So just trying to keep pushing it forward, and then hope that there's some gold at the end of the rainbow, I guess.
Yep, that's it. Cool. Hard work pays off.
That's it.
You know?
Yeah.
Keep at it. That's awesome.
Brandon,
man.
I appreciate you coming on and taking that why me. I'm glad you came on, and I'm sure someone's taking something from this.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys inviting me on the show. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for coming on and sharing your story. You still have a lot, in front of you that you're tackling, and we wish you nothing but the best. And you already know that the PDR community, it's very supportive. So if there's anything that Ryan and I could do, or anyone on here that could help you out, we're here for you. And
I appreciate that.
We wish you the best. And I think that in the PDR industry, we're definitely we're definitely setting the bar out there that we're not just mobile, but we're PDR shops, and we provide multiple services. And if that is what your goal is, I think you're going to kill it, and you're going to do great. And with hearing what the guys are saying about you with your hard work and discipline, man, I'm happy for you. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Appreciate that. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on the show and sharing your story, Brandon.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me again. Appreciate it. This time definitely went super fast.
Yeah, it usually does. You have a great evening, and thank you.
We'll see you April 15 at Ryan's shop.
Come on.
At
Look at that face.
That is too far for me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
That
You and I both.
Till we get that gravy hailstorm, and Brandon's like, "Hey, you need some help?"
Yeah, exactly. Then I have no problem showing up.
We'll see you at MT though.
Brandon,
Yeah,
have a great
definitely.
evening.
All right, awesome,
Thank
guys.
you.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Take care. See you.
Bye.
It was a good one. It was a good one. Out of the box.
Yeah, that was a great story. Maybe we could have him on in like a couple of years after he transitions, because the hailstorm. I mean, the hail route. It's like you said. It's great, but also hard.
Yeah.
And it's just like you could get very addicted, and but you also have your family, and it's just like it's not selfishness, but sometimes we get hooked to our work,
Oh, yeah.
and so I could definitely see both sides, and but the good thing is that he knows his work, he knows what he's doing, and I think he'll be fine, but it's always scary, fear runs into us, every day and every night. So it's just like, I'm sure that transition,
and it's a constant change. You know what I mean? It's that nobody likes change. You start a business, you try to build it, you're knocking on doors, you're getting your teeth kicked in, and you get past that. Then you build those relationships, and then you're in another spot where you're adding employees, or you're adding a service, or you're opening up a shop. It's always scary. It's still scary. I mean, it's
not to go too far, but it's kind of like in the position that I am, it's just like I did the marketing, I did great. I built the business, I did the mobile, I did the shop. And it's just like, I haven't been crazy on my marketing because I've been busy, but now I have another tech. Now the work, it's different. The workload is different. Now I have to get back on the marketing. And it's just like the fact that I haven't been doing it so consistent, it's still like scary. It's still like, oh, what do I do? How do I do it? But just got to keep at it.
Kicking rocks. That's what I say.
Yeah, that's right.
When I'm outside in the parking lot on the phone and I'm kicking rocks around the parking lot, Mikey's like, oh, Jesus, what's coming next? You know what I mean? So, but it's a great story, man. I enjoyed it. I'm glad we could get him on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Manny, you have a great night.
Right.
Everybody, thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining in.
It was a good one.
Yeah. We'll see you guys next week. Join us again.
100. See you guys. Keep it real. Watch your damn hands and be safe.
Be safe.
Man.
Yep. See you guys.
Bye-bye.
See you, Ryan.